Ah, my brother, this is a timely sight, Christian started, for it came to us at just the right time as it follows the invitation which Demas offered us to come over to view the hill Luca. Had we gone over as he desired, and as you were inclined to do, my brother, I suppose we might have been made a similar spectacle for all those who came after us to see. I am sorry I was so foolish. Hopeful stared at the pillar. I wonder why I am now not petrified as Lot's wife. For in what way was there a difference between her sin and mine? She only looked back, while I had a desire to go see the mine. Let grace be adored here, and let me be ashamed that such a thought ever entered my heart. Let us take notice of what we see here, and how we can profit from it in the future. Christian pointed toward the pillar, which was once Lot's wife. This woman escaped one judgment, for she did not suffer the destruction of Sodom, yet she was destroyed by another, as we see here. She was turned into a pillar of salt. Hopeful nodded. True. And may she be both a warning and an example to us, a warning that we should shun her sin, and an example of what judgment will overtake anyone who does not heed the warning. In the same way, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, with the 250 men who perished in their sin, were also an example to others to beware. As he finished speaking all these words, the ground that was under them split open, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up, and their households, and all the men who belonged to Korah, with their possessions. Numbers chapter 16, verses 31 to 32. But above all, I ponder one particular thing. How is it that Demas and his friends can stand so confidently over there looking for treasure, while this woman did nothing but look behind her? For we do not read that she stepped 1 foot out of the way, and yet she was turned into a pillar of salt. The judgment which overtook her remains as an example to all who see it to this day, and truly, all they have to do is lift up their eyes, and they can't help but see her. Christian looked thoughtful. It is an astonishing thing to contemplate, and it indicates that their hearts have grown desperate in this case. It is fitting to compare them with one who picks pockets in the presence of the judge, or the thief who cuts purse strings under the shadow of the gallows. It is said of the men of Sodom that they were sinners exceedingly, because they were sinners before the Lord, that is, in his sight. And yet he had shown them kindness, for the land of Sodom was like the Garden of Eden. Remember that Lot looked around and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan toward Zoar was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself all the valley of the Jordan, and Lot journeyed eastward. Thus they separated from each other. Abram settled in the land of Canaan, while Lot settled in the cities of the valley, and moved his tents as far as Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked exceedingly, and sinners against the Lord. Genesis chapter 13, verses 10 to 13. Therefore, this provoked him all the more to jealousy, and made their plague as hot as the fire of the Lord out of heaven could make it. it is reasonable to conclude that those who sin in the sight of God, and in spite of such examples being set continually before them to warn them, still do the opposite. People such as these might be judged with the greatest severity. There's no doubt what you have said is the truth, Hopeful said. But what a mercy is it that neither you, but especially I, he placed his hand on his chest, am not made such an example as this woman. This occasion gives us an opportunity to thank God, to fear before him, and to always remember Lot's wife. I saw then that the two pilgrims went on their way to a pleasant river, which David the king called the river of God, but John called it the river of the water of life. Then he showed me a river of the water of life, clear as crystal, coming from the throne of God and of the Lamb. Revelation chapter 22, verse 1. Their way followed along the bank of this river. Christian and his companion, Hopeful, walked it with great delight. They also drank of the water of the river, which was pleasant and refreshing to their weary spirits. On the banks of this river, on both sides, stood green trees with all kinds of fruit, and they ate the leaves to prevent gluttony, and which offered other medicinal benefits. On either side of the river there was also a meadow dotted with lilies and curiously beautiful. It was green all year long. In this meadow they lay down and slept, for in this place they could lie down safely. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. Psalm 23, verse 2. When they awoke, they gathered fruit from the trees and drank of the water of the river again, and once again lay down to sleep. They did this for several days and nights. Then they sang, "Behold, how these crystal streams do glide to comfort pilgrims by the highway side. The meadows green, besides their fragrant smell, yield dainties for them, and he that can tell what pleasant fruit, yes, leaves these trees do yield, will soon sell all, that he may buy this field." So when they were willing to go on, for they weren't as yet at their journey's end, they ate and drank and departed. Now I beheld in my dream that they had not journeyed far when the river divided and began to flow in two different directions. They were sorry to see it, for they dared not go out of the way. Now the way led away from the river and was rough, and their feet grew tender because of their travels. So the souls of the pilgrims became more and more discouraged because of the ruggedness of the way. Then they set out from Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom, and the people became impatient because of the journey. Numbers chapter 21, verse 4. Still they went on and wished for a better way. A little ahead of them, to the left of the road, stretched a fenced meadow accessed by a stile. That meadow is called Bypath Meadow. Christian said to Hopeful, "If this meadow lies alongside our way, let's cross over into it." So he walked to the stile to investigate and saw that a pathway on the other side of the fence seemed to run parallel with the way.